segment, we'll be talking about the considerations that you must take before you actually introduce into your bird's environment any type of image reflector, whether it be a mirror, such as this one. Of course, you would never be presenting this to an Amazon. This is a toy that's meant for a budgerigar. But despite that, often without any consciousness, we inadvertently place into our bird's environment some kind of material that actually reflects an image of themselves. And birds that have never been desensitized to this may be afraid of it at first, but the most important consideration is that some birds may actually see a reflection and then bond with the reflection that they see in this mirror, and this could stimulate undesirable mating behaviors in our companion parrots. I really believe that there is a difference between offering a bird a mirror versus offering, I think, something a lot more enriching, which is a video recording of birds in the wild. What we're hoping for is that our companion parrots that regrettably do not live in a flock of other feathered animals actually feel that perhaps they do belong in a flock. And so offering a flock that is virtual on a television screen, such as the polyvisions, is much more beneficial, I feel, to the option of offering a mirror to a bird that could develop an unhealthy relationship and bond very closely to this fictional reflection that becomes a mate for them. For numerous years, most of the budgies were offered in their cages a little replica of themselves in plastic. And these were very healthy for the birds because they would allow companionship for these birds, and it's something that we wanted them to have. But if your bird regrettably starts to engage in excessive amount of regurgitation and trying to constantly peck this bird to hopefully get some kind of preening response or mating response from this bird, then perhaps you should try to enrich their lives in other ways in order to minimize the reproductive desire that these birds have. Now, whether or not these reproductive desires are natural, and they are, it's not necessarily something that we want to encourage in a companion parrot, whether it be a budgie, a cockatiel, a lovebird, or a larger parrot. Periodically offering our bird a companion mate may be beneficial for his psychological health, but we don't want to encourage a constant hormonal stress in our bird's environment, and especially if this one is not a responsive one. And so this is something that we should take with a lot of consideration before we decide to actually include in our bird's daily environment a mirror. One place where it should not be recommended is if the bird is actually housed in a single cage all day long, day and night, doesn't have another opportunity to forage elsewhere, doesn't have the opportunity to fly around the house in a bird-safe room. Then offering a mirror in his sole environment can definitely trigger an unhealthy, perhaps prolonged mating relationship. And this can, for some individuals, actually create a more challenging behavioral relationship with the human caretaker. Obviously, if your bird is a budgerigar, a lovebird, a parrotlet, a cockatiel that is experiencing chronic egg-laying behavior, this is something that your veterinarian and technician might be questioning you about, whether or not in your environment you're stimulating with a mirror, perhaps, the virtual relationship of a mate. And so you need to be able to answer this truthfully in your pet status profile and perhaps in your health guide that you have, and as well in your mind and body chart, because this can be an absolute trigger for hormones.